Oh, okay. Stop it here. Sorry. Okay, we're good. Good morning, everyone. Sorry for that little delay there. All right, our video is probably going to be a little weird. For some reason, okay, I don't know why it's focusing way up there. Take it off there. Otherwise, you're kind of seeing right up our noses. Hang on.
Either our noses or your ponytail.
Or my ponytail.
Okay.
Stick it there.
Yeah, that works.
All right, so new year. Let's see if this works. All right, there we are. Hello, everyone. I think I've met some of you all in person, but for those that I have not met in person, this is what I look like. I am Erica Penna with a mask on. Here's a mask off. I am joined by Kelsey Fitonia, our MS4 coordinator. And then also, this is Adam Rickert. He is our new MS4 assistant coordinator / stormwater specialist. His title is a little bit of a work in progress, but he joined us mid-December. So we're really happy to have him on board. I'll let you introduce yourself real quick.
Yeah, thank you. I previously worked for the Marion County Health Department in Indianapolis. And part of that position, I helped support the city of Indianapolis's stormwater MS4 prevent. And I'm just really happy to be here to learn about what's happening in Monroe County and continuing what I did up in Indianapolis. And, you know, a lot of similarities I've noticed. So I'm really excited to begin with the SWEET team.
And then since it is a new year and we have a few new faces, I thought we could just do a quick introduction of ourselves. In my view of things, Elisa is the kind of top left. So if you'd like to go first.
Okay. I'm Elisa Pocrell, the Community Outreach Coordinator for Monroe County Solid Waste Management District, otherwise known as GoGreenDistrict.com. So happy New Year, everyone. And did you want, okay, are we just doing introductions? We'll do news later.
Yep, just introductions.
Okay.
And then Christy is kind of next on my screen. If you want to go next.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Christy Lindberg, Stormwater Education Specialist with City of Bloomington Utilities. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Maggie Sullivan. I am the Watershed Coordinator for Lake Monroe.
And Kat.
Hi, I'm Kat Sager. I'm the MS4 coordinator with the City of Bloomington.
Tron.
Hello, I was trying to get a better camera. I don't like my laptop camera. Came off camera. Hi, Tron Enright Randolph, Monroe County Surveyor. Been with the county for 16 years in the surveyor role for going on 6 years. Wow, oh, that's quick. And that's it. Oh, I said that wrong. I've been with the county for going on 17 years now. I guess a little more, everyone knows, and I'm sure even there look one or two new people here, but I also serve on the Stormwater Management Board, the Drainage Board, the Monroe County Plan Commission. Also, I'm the representative to the City Plan Commission, and currently for other, I'm a member of INASM, the Indiana Water Resource Alliance, the Indiana Society of Professional Land Surveyors and the Indiana Geographic Information Council. I'm currently serving as a second vice president to the Indiana IGIC, Indiana Geographic Information Council. It's a succession, so this year I'll be serving as their first vice president. And then I think there's a number of other boards and committees I'm working with, like the Lower Salt Creek Committee or steering group or advisory board. Which one is it? Is it a committee or advisory board? Or are we still kind of in the midst of really creating more of a
Steering committee.
steering committee? Thank you. So reach out, anyone. I'll make myself available.
Thanks, Tron. Rebecca, I think you're next.
I might have given away. I'm also on the Lower Salt Creek Steering Committee. I think there's a few members on that as well. Hi, Rebecca Swift, Natural Resources Coordinator for the City of Bloomington Parks and Recreation. A member of SWEET, as well as the Environmental Resources Advisory Council Staff Liaison that, again, some members are a part of as well, and part of the Stormwater Grant Review Committee, which thank you, Christy, again, for sending out that information.
Autumn. Introduce
Hello,
yourself.
everybody. My name is Autumn Brunel, and I'm the naturalist for Monroe County Parks and Recreation. I serve on a lot of the committees that were mentioned. So ERAC is one of them. And then I'm a part of the WINGS group, as is Rebecca, which is Women in Nature Gaining Skills. But I focus on environmental education and provide programming and a bunch of different natural resource management opportunities for Monroe County. Happy to be here and Happy New Year.
Ross.
Yeah, hi, I'm Ross Carlson. I'm with the Indiana Hoosier River Watch, and I met last week with Rebecca, Autumn, Christy, and Kat about how Hoosier River Watch could possibly be incorporated into some of the programs that are associated with the SWEET group. And so I think Autumn invited me to this, I think, just to get a little bit of better understanding of what you guys are doing with your stormwater programs and how River Watch could possibly be incorporated into those. So I'm happy to be here and see if we can do a little collaboration.
Awesome. It was really nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks.
And welcome to your new position. Martha, if you'd like to introduce yourself next.
Sure, Martha Miller, Monroe County Soil and Water Conservation District, also on the Lower Salt Creek Steering Committee, and anything that has to do with natural resources, soil health, and water quality. So.
And Amy.
Good morning, everyone. Amy Thompson. I used to attend these meetings pretty regularly, have been off the radar for a bit, but hoping to jump back in 2022. I'm with Purdue Extension Monroe County on the Park Board and Plan Commission. Also coordinate the Master Gardener Program and work with Autumn on the Master Naturalist Program. So happy to be here this morning.
Well, thank you all for joining us. I did send out the agenda, and there were just a couple of minor additions that we can discuss later on. I have the agenda pulled up, which I can share. Oh, we do not.
Erica,
Yeah.
if I make an introduction for Donna Barbrick that wasn't able to attend today. Donna Barbrick is in the surveyor's office, and she helps assist with some of the functions of the SWEET meeting. I think those are still kind of being more identified moving forward, but she helps with taking the notes and such. So just wanted to add her introduction.
Great. That's, yes, an important addition. Thank you, Tron. So I cannot share my screen, but that's okay. If you all have the link to the agenda, we can pull that up. So the way that we've kind of formatted it, just to remind everyone is we want to have our big collaboration items. Thank you for sharing that, Autumn. It's in the chat if you'd like to link it right, connect it right there. So we'd like to have our big collaboration items, the things that we really want to discuss, the important topics at the forefront. And then we can do our, things that we want everyone to be aware of, need to know, and other updates that maybe we want to have potentially discussed if there's time for it, or just kind of put out there, get people thinking about it as kind of a later topic. So one of those big collaboration items that we wanted to discuss was the items updates to the MS4 general permit. So the start date was December 18th. It went through 18 days of public notice, starting on or around December 18th. And then the NOI will be made available at some point. Still not available yet. And then once the NOI is available, MS4s will have 90 days to submit their new NOI to IDEM. So that due date around March 18th is probably pushed back a little bit further since the NOI has not been made available. But that has gotten us as an MS4 thinking about some of our goals and how we see our program progressing and advancing over the next permit cycle, which I'm sure the city has also been doing, Ellettsville, and IU. NOI stands for Notice of Intent. So when you submit your Notice of Intent, it's kind of an alert, like we will be doing this, and this is what our program will be doing. Yes. So I don't know, Kelsey, if you wanted to talk any more about that. We kind of hoped that the NOIs would be available so that we could talk a little more deeply about them, but.
Yeah. I'm still working on the county's ordinance update. I'm hoping over the next month or two we'll have more to talk about. And Kat, I think I'd like to talk to you about this, how our programs are going to implement the new ordinance requirements. So I'm not incredibly prepared to talk about this morning. But we will be issuing a new stormwater permit that we hadn't done before, basically to replace our county's grading permit. And so we need to do a ton of outreach to local contractors, builders, developers, excavators, to let them know of a lot of these procedural changes, permitting changes. And there are some updates in this general permit for new BMPs that we haven't had here before, or changes to existing BMPs, how they're implemented. So if anyone, I know most of you, either educators or working with contractors in various ways, start helping us spread the word on these permitting changes. Kat?
Yeah. And so as far as reaching out to contractors and engineers and those involved in the Rule 5 process, how that's going to no longer be Rule 5. And this, I don't know if this is something for everyone right now, but maybe working together to make some statements that we could send out to contractors or engineers, and how they would change depending on what is really going to impact them. Especially they're going to have to submit an updated NOI, I think they were saying.
Continuation of coverage within.
Yes, the continuation of coverage. So maybe just if you would want to work together on a statement to send them about like maybe what their next steps could be. Or for people submitting new SWIPs coming into this year. So just an idea, could be a thing to work on together.
Definitely. I haven't contacted any local engineers yet. So just so you know, I haven't done that yet. I did send a short email out to some county staff who may be involved in county-owned GO5s, just to let them know, so they're not surprised at that requirement. So I know that the Parks Department has a bunch of current active sites. Some others, but Erica, did you send out a letter? Erica sent out a letter. She's on top of it.
Wow.
But we would be happy to send that letter to you. It was geared towards contractors.
Great. Yeah. Awesome.
But yeah, like I said, I haven't contacted the engineers yet. I know most of them were at our contractors workshop.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah. Well, just never know.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was just thinking we could collaborate on something like that.
That's great, Kat. Yes.
Cool.
Please. One of the big changes, and I'm starting to tell folks, and this might be a bigger deal in the county than in the city, but it looks like they've done away with the 5-acre exemption for single-family residential. So anything disturbing 1 acre or more needs coverage under the general permit. That's something I'm trying to, I think, keep saying, because it's going to be a huge surprise to some folks.
Yeah.
And then there are some other things that IDEM has provided. They updated the guidance on buffers, so there will be a buffer requirement for construction projects. Yeah. Kat, you and I can talk about all this because really on how we implement it.
Yeah, for sure.
But the
I
guidance,
definitely think it'd be good to be on the same page with folks.
yeah. Some good stuff.
Awesome.
Is anyone not involved with, construction permitting have any questions in general on the new changes? Anyone care to know more?
I've been involved, but I have a very basic, maybe not super basic. What do you think is one of the most practical things that we're going to encounter with this change that could cause more of a financial obligation to the developers?
Some of the BMP implementations, like they put skimmers in there, which is basically a flotation device to basically draining your sediment basins from the top of the pond instead of the bottom. But it's not practical. If you have ice and snow, you're not going to be using skimmers. I like the idea of it because the top of the water column should be where you have the cleaner water, more sediment is settling down to the bottom. So you want to be able to draw water from the top, but we just don't have that technology here. I can't even get people to install wattles and silt fence correctly. So, So, covering trash containers, making sure that there's no trash in it that could blow away. We don't currently have covered dumpsters or leak-proof containers on site, so that's going to be a headache just to have to implement that change.
So I was kind of asking, I guess, more in line with do you think it'd be helpful to create like a bullet point boilerplate type list so we can kind of get that out there ahead of these changes being implemented? So if that's what's going to impact most people, at least we could try to get the word out now.
Absolutely, yeah. And we have talked about this extensively at the last 2 contractors workshops, but I think we need to get the word to the contractors and excavators themselves. The engineers have heard it because they're the ones who attend that workshop. But I think some outreach to, the smaller companies, especially the excavators, the builders, we need to push this in their faces because they usually don't go to those trainings.
Right. And if we prepare the document well enough where we're saying, hey, this is up and coming, or to a certain extent where, we could put information that's not, mandated or compliance measures quite yet, but hey, this is what we're thinking is going to occur. Maybe we could link something to OpenGov. So when anyone goes to file anything, we get like this default letter of, hey, here is what we're thinking you need to be aware of. I'm thinking we could use OpenGov. Now, if anyone's not familiar with OpenGov is our electronic permitting software. So anyone that goes to do anything, they're going to most likely go through OpenGov. So if there's any way that we can maybe give them this information as they're kind of creating an account or, looking to, whatever they're looking to do, and put a deck on their back of their house and they have to pour footers, that they're actually changing the footprint, so they have to then meet a number of different compliance measures. So there's a lot of reasons people might go to OpenGov, but I'm just, I guess, advocating that as a tool to get the word out, maybe.
Yeah, I like that idea. And I know, I'm not sure if the city has their permitting software available yet, but no, I'm sorry. That would be a good way to get information out quickly. Thanks, Tron.
And that's something, that's kind of where I was thinking about us collaborating on documents such as that. And so that, yeah, you could put it on, your permitting website, but also, we have our design standards and we, refer people to our websites. Design standards, that's something we can post there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we haven't received any guidance from the state, by the way.
No.
At all. So there's that.
Martha, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I'm actually working from home. I apologize. We got a COVID exposure in the office today. So, Kelsey, is this something that I could schedule a time to sit down with you and kind of get revamped a little bit more on how that's going to affect our portion of stuff?
I don't think it will, but I'd be happy to talk to you about that.
Okay.
So.
All right. That'd be awesome. And then if you have things put together, the city or the county, we can get that together for some of the stuff we've got coming up that will probably draw some of those people for different reasons. So I'll be glad to help spread the word, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Thank you.
So it sounds like we'll have some more talking points about this as we get more guidance from IDEM. So I appreciate everyone letting us kind of do some initial talk through of some of that. If no one has anything else they'd like to say about our MS4 general permit update or the construction stormwater general permit update, last call. Okay. Then I think we'd like to move on to our next big bullet item is our meeting format. Zoom seems to work pretty well, especially if we've got people, in work from home situations or whatnot. But some of you have expressed interest in resuming kind of a hybrid potential, some in-person gathering. So I wanted to gauge everyone's interest in that and really have a discussion about it, especially as we're kind of navigating the new Omicron variant. So how are you all feeling?
I would like to say that I'd prefer to keep it Zoom because of the current pandemic status. So that's my input.
I'll weigh in real quick. As with Amy, I've not been able to attend because of conflicts with other things for a while, but I'd really like to get back connected to you guys and, start being more involved with things. But Zoom is going to work best for me just because it's hard to get anywhere. So.
Go ahead, Christy. I see your hand raised.
Yes, I would just like to say that I think when the timing is right, when hopefully things ease up with the pandemic, I think it would be nice to transition back to in-person, or at least some sort of like a hybrid in between, and maybe stay with a hybrid. I think it just seems to make sense for today's environment.
Yeah, we have an owl in one of our conference rooms, not this one, obviously. So we're happy to host a hybrid meeting if folks want to come here.
Great, great. Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about getting together in person. And we have an owl too, so maybe we can trade off or whatever, but that'd be great.
Yep.
Thanks.
I can speak to this just, I guess, in regards to how some other agencies are handling this for more of their formal. The nicest part about this is somewhat still informal. So we're not necessarily mandated to meet in person, and we don't have to adopt a hybrid policy either. But moving forward, I think it would be nice to keep the option. So my main point is we're doing hybrids in a lot of these other agencies, but 1 or 2 in-persons a year. So just wanted to put that out there as far as how other agencies are approaching this. But even the in-persons, you can still attend hybrid, but we really promote the in-person part. So that was kind of prior to this new Omicron, but that's just kind of how we've been discussing it in some of our executive meetings in other agencies. So.
Okay. So for our next meeting, everyone's comfortable keeping that on Zoom, and then we can see how we're all feeling about potentially a March hybrid situation. I'm seeing nodding heads, thumbs up. Okay, good. Okay. Well, it looks like we've got some time to go through some of our other items. Michael Dorset with IU emailed me earlier today and said that the only update he has is the restoration project has started on the Campus River, formerly called the Jordan River. So I know that'll be an interesting project for us all to keep an eye on, and hopefully he can join us for a future meeting and give us some more updates. And then there was another addition about Hoosier River Watch. Would you guys like to share a little bit more about that?
Sure, I'm going to defer to Ross, but the big update too from us is, fortunately, Ross has joined us today. He's going to come to Bloomington in March. It's on March 2nd for a full day of an instructor training workshop. It's been something that has been brought up in this meeting quite a bit. We've basically just been waiting so we can get the instructor training, so then we can turn around and start training volunteers in Monroe County again. So if you or anybody in your agency is interested in joining us, we have started sharing the Google invite. Location is to be determined. Autumn and I are going to work that out. It's definitely be here in Bloomington. Again, it is full day, so 9 to 5 assume, but with an hour lunch, give or take. We're going to discuss the chemical, biological, and physical testing involved in Hoosier River Watch. Some of you may be familiar with what that field testing is like, and also just go over just some of the materials needed for this program. So with that, Ross, do you have any other updates or things to mention?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. Yeah, it'll be pretty much an all-day event, and we will go over the Hoosier River Watch program in depth, and hopefully you guys will be confident and comfortable and ready to train people in the Hoosier River Watch techniques to become volunteers for your Adopt a Stream programs or any educational programs that you want to use the program with throughout the summer. So, if we do this in early March, you guys will be ready to hit the ground running. I know, I believe, was it the county and Rebecca, you had a training trunk or an instructor trunk. So we're going to get those filled up and make sure that they're ready to go for the summer so that you guys can utilize those.
So a couple hands up. I saw Martha, your hand came up first, and then we'll go Maggie.
Yeah, thanks. Quick question. SWCD personnel that are in the counties that surround us have been asking for this information for list 2 or 3 years now. Would it be possible to consider to allow maybe the Brown, Owen, probably Green and Morgan SWCD staff to participate in this training? You can get back with me. If that's not something comfortable for Sweet, then Ross, I would love to set up a time I can talk with you so that we can get SWCD staff that are really interested in getting this going in their respective counties.
Yeah, if you want to email me, that would be fine, or just the Hoosier River Watch email comes to me as well. And I know that there has been with, you know, the former coordinator had some health issues, and then the pandemic, there's a kind of a lot of pent up demand for Hoosier River Watch. So if we can't accommodate that, or if it's just going to be like too many people physically to kind of feel comfortable or have the space for, let me know, and we will, you know, find a training that would work, or a date for those folks as well.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Could you put your email in the chat? That'd be awesome.
Yes, I will do that.
And Rebecca, if you could see, if I could get a copy of the Google invite, I would love to be involved, at least in the sweet part, if even if we can't offer it to other SWCDs. Thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I guess I had a similar question, and who is invited to this training? We, with Friends of Lake Monroe, we're working with some Boy Scout groups on trying to find volunteer projects for them. And one of the things we thought about was Hoosier River Watch. But you know, we're in preliminary conversations, and I'm just curious to know who you're hoping to train at this particular training.
I think this particular training is going to be focused on instructors and not yet volunteers. And that's solely because Rebecca and I aren't instructors, but we are in charge of that volunteer database. And so right now, the only Bloomington instructors are Christy, and then Kathy Meyer and Sandy Bell, who are both retired. And so this training is going to focus on the instructor aspect. And then I know Ross mentioned in our meeting that he has a lot more planned for different counties and different training opportunities coming up.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, Autumn, that's a good point to make. This is more geared, like she said, for instructors. So it's people who have had experience with Hoosier River Watch, so that they can go and, you know, for a Boy Scout group, give the training so that they would be able to do volunteer sampling themselves.
And actually, Ross, I'm trained as well. This is Martha Miller.
Okay.
So
as
but
an
I need a
instructor,
refresher.
or
As an instructor, yes.
okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
You might check into that and see, but yeah, I'll do a refresher with you guys. So
yeah, that would be awesome.
Ross, I was a volunteer instructor back in 2014.
Yeah, I know that.
But I had no interest in continuing after I changed jobs, and I don't know if and Autumn and Rebecca, I haven't responded to your email yet, but here I am. I would love it if Erica and Adam could kind of fill that role from our stormwater group, but I'm happy to participate if needed, but I'm not interested in necessarily being an instructor at this point.
Okay, yeah, that's great. It's good to see you again too. I haven't seen you in a long time.
All right, I am adding a lot of you to the list right now. Again, it is focusing for those of you in the room, right? Like our virtual room, the instructors. So then you can go and train your volunteer pool. And now if you need the assistance, as Ross said, you know, Autumn and I are sitting on what is called the Hoosier River instructor bins that we use for our Adopt a Stream programs and other things. Hoosier materials, but you know, we're local, we're happy to share and help, you know, co-host some volunteer opportunities. I think we're all on the same board that everybody just wants to get people outside, looking at water quality, learning, spending time outside. So again, if we could co-coordinate, that's great. But for this workshop, it is just for us instructors who are then going to go train other volunteers.
this is Martha. Sorry, there is an instructor trunk in Owen County SWCD. It's still there, Kelsey.
Yeah, that's the one I use.
Yep, me too. So that's one that the SWCDs in the area have used over the last 10 years. So we probably need to get it up to date as well. And
there's really a lot of stuff there.
yeah, and because there's so many new faces in SWCD, I think that's why it's critical to get trainers to train in these counties around us.
Yeah, I know Southwest and Southeast Indiana right now have kind of a pretty good sized backlog of folks that are interested. So hopefully there will be a training, you know, near Owen County in that area this year, regardless.
Sorry, I was just asking, what's Adam's last name so I could send you the invite to Adam?
It's Rickert, and that's spelled Rickert.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Tron, did you have a question for them?
Sort of a question and maybe just a statement, but the question is the data. What are we doing with the data right now? How are we compiling it? Is it like tabular data, which means just Excel spreadsheets? Are we integrating like GIS spatial data with, where these samples are being taken? So my main point is, once you maybe got a better grasp on the instructors and who they are, I'm really curious what we're going to do with the data. And is it really time to start talking about integrating GIS into that data so we can, have more of a more longevity and more ways to do analysis on this data. So just want to make sure that I always kind of put that out there that, what are we going to do with this data as we move forward? And is there a better format moving forward? And if such, let's make sure we have that conversation too. But I know we're not ready for that. And I can volunteer our coordinator to come sit in and maybe give you ideas to think of as well, because I think we know how we can maybe make this information more dynamic. So just consider that, and if so, invite our coordinator so they can kind of just sit in and do a listening session so they really understand what your goals are and how that data is, collected and gathered and kept.
Again, defer to Ross, but he just brought up about, just a good motivation is reminding our volunteers that this data is used to inform decisions and management. And so Ross, can you kind of elaborate on just what is currently being used with the Hoosier River Watch data?
Tron, I'm not sure if you're talking about at like a county level or at the statewide level. Hoosier River Watch has a database. And when you create a site and enter data into that database, it is like geolocated. So it's tied to a GPS point. It's not a GPS point that's taken in the field. We just have our volunteers like approximate using Google Maps. And that's all available at HoosierRiverWatch.com. And you can go in, you can search by watershed, and we are hosting that and saving all that data. So I'm not sure if that begins to answer your question. And if you have questions about that database, I can meet with you sometime and go into a lot more in depth on how that's saved.
I did share that with the Lower Salt Creek Steering Committee as well. Sarah Peel has access to that Hoosier River Watch data for this area.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's moving forward. And is there a better way that we could maybe disseminate this information as well as the current method that you have hosting? And there's just a lot of tools available that are completely finished products that could maybe help you, identify that spatial reference while you're collecting on the field, or a number of different things. So I'm just a huge advocate of integrating GIS. So I just want to make sure that that's talked about, and maybe if there are new tools and solutions available, you're aware of them. Because that type of technology is leapfrogging right now. So.
And I know something that city, we have outer spatial, we're forcing our volunteers to get on their phones and look at their geospatial a lot more and stress that, it's important that you're sampling the same location. So I agree, Tron, that, data, but it all over the place isn't worth as much as if you're getting accurate same point location. So just GIS is very important to stress. But volunteers, they don't have the GPS units, but most of the time they all have phones. So again,
we have looked at we have looked at integrating like Survey 123 into that, so that when you're in the field, you're using like digital field sheets rather than paper. Because a lot of the ways that people do it now is, it's a paper field sheet that they're out, and then they're taking it back and entering it, manually into the database. So I know Arizona has an awesome database that's very similar for their sea science program that they are using, like Survey 123 for all of their field work. So it's all digital and it's all geo-referenced and spatial as soon as it's taken. So that would definitely be a step that we are hoping to take.
Kat has her hand raised, but I also have a comment.
Kat, do you want?
I just had a similar comment, as Kelsey was saying, as far as in folks who would be invited to this instructor training. I was also thinking that I know Christy already has the instructor training, but I was also interested in having another of our crew have this training in case we have these volunteer opportunities. Would I be able to add their names to this group? Yeah. Do you want their names now?
Sure. And again, like rule of thumb, if there's staff, I think it's going to be pretty safe to say that, yes, we'd love for them, because the more staff that get trained, the more volunteer pools will have an opportunity. But it's just, we're not trying to open up the door to any outside agencies or groups just yet.
Okay, cool. All right.
I just had a comment about using the data. So with the new MS4 general permit, we're being required to update our water quality characterization report. And most MS4s haven't updated those since we first became MS4s, however many years ago, 15, 20 years ago. So I have 6 months from the date of the new state general permit to update my water quality characterization report. But I'll be pulling data from a lot of Hoosier River Watch probably, because that's a lot of what we have in the county. But and other studies that have been done since we did the original characterization 15 years ago. So that is just one way that I am planning on looking at some of these data and trying to just better summarize some of our problem areas in the county. And it might help us look to the future on things we want to focus on. So
This is more of a side note for you. But I was working with Connie previously on Flatwoods Park and Will Detmer Park, the water features in that pond. And I have a little bit of water quality data that we can get together and I can share with you.
awesome, that'd be great. Thank you, Autumn.
Yeah.
Kelsey, I don't want to open too much of a can of worms here, but if you guys are doing any higher level sampling as an MS4, I don't know if you remember all of the secondary data portal and external data framework. But yeah, if you in the future want to get together and talk about the QAP tool and how you could possibly hopefully get some tier 2 data into that database, that would be awesome, because we're really hoping to get some of that in. So I don't want to bring that up too much right now, but if you're interested in that in the future, let me know. I've kind of, that's part of my role here is helping people to navigate through that. So if you need help with that, just let me know.
Ross, I'm glad to have you as a contact there. Right now I am just looking at analyzing existing data, but I know the commissioners, the Stormwater Board, obviously, and some others are interested in doing more water quality monitoring. Haven't planned anything yet, obviously, so I would be reaching out to others, but I would like to have it be, professional monitoring, and if we can get it meeting your standards, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and I think now that we have the QAP tool and that's becoming live, it's a lot easier for people to understand what data standards they need to meet in order to qualify for like tier 2 data. So if we can allow people to understand what those qualifiers are and get them to that point, that's awesome, because then we can actually assess on that data, and that really helps with like the 303D list and then TMDLs and then 319 and all the way up. So
awesome. This would be probably in like a couple years. It's like a dream of mine in a couple of years. Cool.
Any other questions about the Hoosier River Watch? Anything else anyone would like to add? Any other updates for the group?
I wanted to share a quick program update. Monroe County Parks and Rec will be hosting a whooping crane ambassador training on January 20th from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And that is kind of related to SWEET. And that being a whooping crane ambassador means that you're kind of the voice of the cranes, if you will. You become a trained volunteer so that you are called upon for one of the big things that crane volunteers go to is the hunting in like gun shows, just to talk about making sure you're not shooting whooping cranes or sandhill cranes. And then there is a huge, I guess, spread of volunteer educational opportunities that you get to do as a trained volunteer. And so if anyone is interested, part of learning about whooping cranes is learning about wetlands and wetland conservation. And so it is capped to 20 people, masks are required. And I do have a registration that I'll post in the chat. It's free and it'll be hosted by the International Whooping Crane Foundation or International Crane Foundation, focusing on whooping cranes.
Cool.
I have one thing. Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say, I see hands raised. I don't know if they're for me or for next, but that's all I have.
Okay, Autumn, can you just add that to the minutes then as well?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you. Maggie, I think your hand was next.
Just a quick update. Friends of Lake Monroe got a grant from the Community Foundation of Bloomington and Monroe County to continue doing some watershed work this coming year. The big pieces of that are doing some community forums to educate about what we found and wrote in our watershed management plan. But there's also a piece doing a septic system maintenance cost share program where we'll have vouchers to reimburse people for pumping their septic systems and or installing a riser. So we'll be launching that later this spring.
Cool.
Awesome. Congrats, guys.
Christy?
Yeah, sure. We're just gearing up for the year. Residential stormwater grants 2022. In the midst of that, deadline is February 1st. We're also doing a video series. We have done one so far on the grants program, and we're going to be doing more. We're working on one for communities now, and also next will be landscapers. In addition, Earth Day is coming up. I think some of us on here are involved with that. Earth Day 2022 is going to actually be on the day of. How often does that happen? Yeah, it's on a Friday, so that'll be nice. We have a meeting, I believe, at 1 o'clock. We'll also be working with Sycamore Land Trust at Templeton, talking about doing a rain garden there. And in the bigger picture, just kind of working with other departments to make sure that they're all on board with stormwater efforts and so on and so forth as it pertains to neighborhoods. So looking at things big and small.
Oh.
Thanks.
And Martha?
Yes, I'm Elisa. Two things. First of all, we have a Green Chat series. It's a series of 30-minute informal Zoom chats. And I have invited community members to participate. We've had 3 so far. I've done one of them. The rest were one was on household efficiency from a community member. The other one was on different ways of reuse. And this next one coming up January 22nd. They're always on Saturday from noon to 12:30. Again, it's virtual. And she's going to be talking about greenwashing and identifying sustainable companies. So I'll be sending you an ad, but she's really good. She did the reuse one, and I really liked what she said. So if you could help me in promoting it in any of your outlets, in your social media, whatever, I'd appreciate it. So I'll be sending that on. And if you have any volunteers who would like to talk about this, it's wide open. Okay, so it's not just on recycling, it's not just on one topic, but it's all related to environmental care. And the chats address better ways that we can take ways we can take better care of ourselves, our community, and our world in order to reduce waste, climate crisis, and associated environmental pollution. Again, these are informal. It's not like the business series I had where we had PowerPoints and everything. So I'm kind of looking for community members. So if you are in touch, those of you who have volunteers, you know, if you could mention it to them and say, hey, you know, if you'd like to talk about something that they do in their own household, that would be great. Please send them to me, contact me. And then if you want the link, just contact me and I will send the link along. But that's Saturday, January 22nd is the 4th green chat that we're having. The other topic that I wanted to talk about is past couple of years, we've promoted the rain barrels and compost bins for Earth Day. And last year we partnered with the city. This year we were trying to kind of expand the audience because people can order this from any county, but we want to get more Monroe County residents. So this year we're partnering with Rural King. And so we will have a website, the order website up hopefully by the end of this week or next week. We're a week late this year. So we will be selling and some accessories too for people, but mainly the rain barrels and the compost bins, same company, Brand Builders. Last year, the rain barrel was tan, kind of a cream color. This year it's going to be a green, nice green. So hopefully we'll get some more people ordering that. And then again, they ordered online. We'll have 2 pickup sites. Rural King will be one site, and then South Walnut will be the other pickup site. And it's going to land on Earth Day this year. So the distribution will be on April 22nd, which is the Friday, and April 23rd. The deadline to order, I can't remember the exact deadline, but it's like the 2nd week of April. So people have to get their order in. So I'll be promoting that, and I also send you something on that too. And you know, hopefully we can post that, you know, in showers as well, a flyer. But so that's what's going on. And remember that these orders are not, people from out of county can also order. They just have to pick up in Monroe County. So our objective is to widen the audience, that more people will use these devices to keep our water clean, our soil clean, and reduce food waste going into landfills.
Great. That's exciting. Thanks. Martha, I see your hand up.
Yeah, we have a position, conservation resource technician. It'll be for the next 3 years. We actually have the position filled, and he was supposed to start this morning. And on Friday, he texted us and told us he was going to stay with the Indiana National Guard. So we are back to square one, and I am throwing that out there for anyone who has anybody that you know who might be interested in being a conservation resource technician through Soil and Water. Please reach out to me. I'll be getting something posted again on our website probably this afternoon. It'll be open until filled. So I would take any leads that you might have. And we are also working with SLT and NRCS to develop a field day on wetlands in the Bean Blossom watershed, which will be coming later. Probably honestly more like fall, because it's going to have components on how you develop one, what the stages are to get money if you want to develop one through EQIP fundings, and then what one looks like at the end, including some invasive work. So yeah, that's just kind of a brief synopsis. So there's a lot more happening, but that's enough for now.
Cool. And I think we're Rebecca.
Yep, and I wasn't going to give an update yet because they're a few months off, but just because a couple members have brought up, I just want to let you all know we are planning an Earth Day event between multiple agencies and departments. If you haven't already been reached out to with the save the date, we are trying to host something similar to last year's event, where it was a little bit of a hybrid of in-person and a virtual Facebook Live event. Hopefully do, you know, like a tree plant giveaway. We had a lot of great demonstrations. You know, Lisa came and spoke about the barrels. And so just think about that. We have a meeting today at 1. So again, if you haven't heard about it yet, probably after today, you're going to be getting an email with at least a soft invite to the Earth Day event. Again, that's April 22nd. It is a Friday. And then I just, again, adopt a stream orientation. We're going to be hosting that at the end of March, hopefully after we're able to have the instructor training. Always looking for new volunteers, but also if that's something that you think your volunteer pool might benefit from, it is an all virtual orientation. We just kind of go through expectations of our volunteers, why, the motivation and how we can help. So I'm happy to share those slides and that information ahead of time. But that date is to be determined, but it will be coming up at the end of March. On that same note, our wonderful volunteer coordinator, Sarah Owen, has accepted another position outside of the city of Bloomington. So she's no longer with us. If you gotten a chance to work with her on any of our volunteer programs, she was wonderful. So we just posted that position. So we are also hiring here at Parks and Rec. And we will be in the meantime, doing the best we can with some of our other programs. So just let me know if you have any interest in our Adopt a Stream, Adopt a Green Space, or Adopt a Trail, as well as just any stormwater education assistance we can help with.
Great. Wow, there's a lot going on already. That's exciting. So if you guys could make sure you put some of those details into the Google Doc for the meeting minutes, I want to make sure we get all those details right. So we're all on the same page. Or send the information to me and I can include it into the Google Doc before I send out meeting minutes early next week or end of this week. So, all right, any other last minute comments, concerns? Nope. All right, well, thank you guys. Thanks for your time. It was really nice to see everyone's faces, even just briefly. So we'll see you guys all soon.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Erica.
Yep.
And thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Andrew.
You're welcome.
And can you send me the link to the recording for this?
Sure.
Thank you.